The roller coaster of watch collecting, where making mistakes is hailed as the ultimate learning experience. But let's be real, in this world, those blunders can hit you right in the feels and the wallet. Buying a watch that turns out to be a cringe-worthy decision. Ouch. It's like ordering a mystery dish and realizing it's not your culinary soulmate. So, to spare you the pain, both emotionally and financially, let's talk about the watches that might haunt your dreams. Why not sidestep these pitfalls? Consider this your cheat code to watch collecting wisdom. Join me as we unveil the top 5 watches that, trust me, you'll want to dodge like an awkward high five. Because who needs regret in their collection, right? Get ready for some spicy watch talk today. I'm about to spill the tea on 5 watch brands that honestly wouldn't see a penny from my wallet. Now I know what you're thinking. Are you just being extra picky? Well, guilty as charged, but hear me out. Even if I had Bill Gates' bank account, these brands wouldn't get a slice of the pie. But before you scream Richard Mille or Hublot, let's switch lanes. We're not going for the obvious choices. Hublots are kinda meh, and Richard Mille's, well, let's just say they've got their own fan club. Now this list is my personal shade fest, but I want to hear yours too. Drop your no-go brands in the comments. Let's turn this comment section into a roast fest. But here's the kicker. Making this video means I'm waving goodbye to potential collabs with these brands. So, if you appreciate the sacrifice, throw me a thumbs up. Now let's kick things off with a brand I actually kinda like, but still wouldn't drop my hard-earned cash on IWC. Buckle up, because this is where the watch talk gets real. First, IWC. Let's start with a brand I like, but I could never imagine myself spending tons of money on their watches. That brand is IWC. I'm a huge Formula One fan, and I'm always drawn to brands that are involved with the sport or its teams. IWC has a long history of supporting the most successful Formula One team in the last decade. Their watches have been worn by famous drivers like Nico Rosberg and Lewis Hamilton. However, I still don't feel a strong connection to their watches. I might sound a bit superficial, but if I'm going to invest $10,000 in a watch, I want it to scream quality and luxury. Here's the issue with IWC's Flieger watches. They all look pretty much the same. Do you see the problem here? They're essentially identical in design. It's not that I dislike what IWC creates, it's just that it's difficult for me to justify spending tons of money on one of their watches because their designs don't stand out as unique to IWC. Secondly, fashion brands. Coming in at number 2 on my list are brands that are better known for something other than watches. Take, for example, Calvin Klein. I have no issue buying their cloths, but their watches just don't appeal to me. The same goes for Nike. I'm all for their shoes, but their watches don't make it onto my shopping list. Armani is another one. I'll gladly sport their suits, but when it comes to their watches, I'll pass. Gucci, Chanel, Louis Vuitton, Ralph Lauren. None of these high-fashion brands managed to sway me towards their timepieces. In fact, even Ralph Lauren himself didn't opt for a Ralph Lauren watch. He chose to wear a Cartier. If the man behind the brand won't sport his own watches, then it gives me pause to consider why I should. Don't you agree? Thirdly, Mido. Now let's talk about some more affordable watch brands that don't quite capture my interest, such as Mido. Mido did catch my eye with their retro reissue, the Mido Rainbow Diver, which had a fun and unique design, albeit somewhat on the novelty side. They also offer a GMT watch, which is a good value for a Swiss-made GMT timepiece. If you search carefully, you can even find them for less than $1,000 in the US. However, beyond these 2 watches, there's not much else in their collection that stands out or piques my interest. They seem to have plenty of plain and characterless dress and everyday watches. But here's the thing. I've come to realize that I'm not the target audience for Mido. As it turns out, Mido is quite popular in Central and South America. They're positioned by the Swatch Group, to which they belong, as an entry-level luxury brand for these markets. And they've gained a massive market share in places like Mexico, where they account for a whopping 75% of the entire entry-level luxury watch market. That's a significant presence. So, the last time I checked, I don't live in Mexico or those regions, so I can certainly forgive myself for not finding Mido particularly intriguing. After all, they're not meant for me in the first place. Number 4, Meistersinger. Let's talk about Meistersinger, a brand that exclusively sells watches with just one hand. Yes, you heard me right. One hand. It's as if this brand is designed for people who have explored every other watch brand and style imaginable, and then suddenly woke up one day and thought, you know what I need? A watch with just one hand. I personally don't ever want to reach that point in my watch collecting journey. These watches aren't exactly budget friendly either, starting at around $1,500 because they incorporate Swiss movements. Now it begs the question, why put a Swiss movement into a watch that only needs one hand? I find it amusing that they have a section on their website labeled novelties, as if their entire range of watches doesn't already belong to that category in the first place. For me, Meistersinger watches represent the end of the road, and I don't want my watch journey to come to a stop. So, I'll politely pass on them, thank you very much. Fifth, Bremont, another brand that has a more recent connection to Formula One, which honestly doesn't appeal to me at all, is Bremont. This is despite the fact that Formula One star Nicholas Latifi himself wears their watches. To be honest, I just can't seem to understand the charm of Bremont. They're a relatively new watch brand, having been established only 20 years ago. When you look at the personalities they choose as brand ambassadors, it's evident that they're going for a special forces or rugged image in their marketing. That's entirely their prerogative, but personally, it doesn't resonate with me. Furthermore, I'm not particularly drawn to their watch designs either. I've taken a good look at their catalogue, and while their watches are okay, after 2 decades in the industry, I don't see a single iconic signature model that sets Bremont apart. There's no one watch design that you can immediately identify as distinctly Bremont. With over 200 watches in their catalogue, everything starts to look quite similar, whether it's a diver's watch, a pilot's watch, or a chronograph. I can't find a Bremont watch that I'd choose over the competition, especially when considering the prices. Bremont's prices don't seem to align with their relatively short heritage and the absence of in-house movements. For instance, even their new integrated bracelet costs a hefty $9,000. Why would I opt for a Bremont when I could invest my money in an Omega or a Tudor instead, which offer a richer history and often more competitive options? So there you have it, 5 brands, 4 of which are major players, and a whole slew of others that I won't be adding to my collection anytime soon. IWC may offer quality, but their steep price tags for designs that can be found elsewhere at a similar level of elegance just don't make sense to me. I'd rather invest in something equally impressive without breaking the bank. As for Bremont, they leave me cold, and it's unlikely that my stance will change, even if they're connected to TV personalities or events. Their watches simply fail to captivate my interest. Mido falls into the bland category for me. Their offerings are so unremarkable that I've already forgotten what I mentioned about them. It's hard to get excited about a brand that lacks uniqueness and a distinct identity in the watch world. Now, when it comes to brands primarily known for something other than watches, with one notable exception, they won't be seeing my money. I'd prefer to stick with brands that have dedicated themselves to horology, as their expertise and commitment to craftsmanship tend to shine through in their timepieces. And lastly, Meistersinger and their one-handed wonders. They represent a definitive endpoint on the watch collecting journey for me, and I have no intention of reaching that destination. Their watches may have their appeal, but they don't align with my preferences when it comes to timekeeping. Are there any other watch brands that should be included in this list? Share your thoughts in the comments section. To stay updated with videos regarding timepieces, like and subscribe to Luxury Focus. That's all for now. Thanks for watching and see you at the next one.